Well, we all know Moore County is growing, but the folks down south of us are as well. Richmond County, they've got NASCAR, they've got Amazon too. We have the economic developer for Richmond County, Martie Butler, next on Paradise in the Pines. Welcome to Paradise in the Pines, a podcast about the people, places, and stories that make this the home of American golf. Brought to you by the Pinehurst, Southern Pines, Aberdeen Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. And welcome to Paradise in the Pines. I'm Phil Wurz. We're joined today by the economic developer for Richmond County. That is Martie Butler. Martie, great to see you, Paradise in the Pines.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
We see you quite often in town. I mean, you live in Pinehurst, but you work down in Richmond County. How long have you been with Richmond County in economic development?
Oh, it's kind of embarrassing if you want to be honest. Telling my age. So I've been in economic development close to 20 years, and I've been in Richmond County for about 13 years. So a good part of my career has been spent in Richmond County working with that community, their leadership to really grow the community and take advantage of their assets.
Obviously, just to our south. I mean, as it's funny, one day I did a trip down to the Rock, and we'll talk about Rockingham and NASCAR and the impact of that. Literally from our office here to drive to the Rock at the office there was exactly 20 miles. So, I mean, we're very close neighbors. And so you've been in Richmond County for 13 years. How much has changed? I mean, obviously a very rural county like Moore County. Obviously, we have the Gulf here. But talk about Richmond County and how much it's changed from the day you got there. What were some of the challenges that you faced there versus what you're doing now?
Some of the challenges that Richmond County has faced, it was a former textile community, blue collar. So a lot of the textile mills, as in many communities across North Carolina, closed down, went overseas to Mexico. So they were really in a rebuilding stage. I was fortunate enough to come in on the heels of some really forward-thinking leadership. They invested a lot in their infrastructure, water, sewer capacity, just a lot of things needed to rebuild a community from the ground up. So I was very fortunate in that. And since I've been there, we've announced over 23 economic development projects. So we've really made a boost, a shot in the arm to our manufacturing base. So they're about 22% of our workforce. So manufacturing has definitely stepped up and continued to grow along with the state of North Carolina. And also the rebirth of the Rock, as you mentioned. NASCAR is a huge driver in North Carolina, and North Carolina invested in the Speedway. Richmond County invested in the Speedway, and we put a lot of work not only in the Speedway, but the Dragway as well, trying to revive the motorsports history that we have.
How much did you realize the impact of NASCAR leaving? Let's go back into history. I mean, I remember covering races when I was in my TV career, covered NASCAR, and it was twice a year. We'd go there in, I believe, February, right after Daytona 500, and then we come back again in the fall. 2 races a year, obviously huge economic impact on Richmond County back then. How much, when you started 12, 13 years ago, did you realize that was it still an impact of that all leaving? And now where we're going to now with NASCAR coming back the last couple of years.
Yeah, it was definitely a vacuum. When I came in, they were under the ownership of Andy Hillenburg. So there was 1 or 2, maybe a truck race, and things closed down thereafter. So there's a lot of pride. It's really, I like to say, in the fabric of the community. Motorsports is such a big part of Richmond County. So it was definitely, a lot of things were just crumbling, whether it be the facility, maybe the neighboring infrastructure as far as the campsites. They just weren't as full as they once were. And you could tell it was definitely just, you don't want to say a drag, but people were really sad about that. And there's so much passion and love for NASCAR and motorsports in Richmond County.
And now you talk about Andy Hillenburg. So now the current owner, you're in a position now, or the track is in a position where it is for sale. It's been public knowledge, written about, published reports. The gentleman who owned it, talk about him, how he came about to acquire the track a few years ago, and where he kind of has taken the track during his tenure.
So Dan Levenheim, he's based in Raleigh, and some fellow investors purchased the Speedway when it was for sale. I guess it was coming out of bankruptcy. I'm not certain the details. And from there, really, he just began investing in the track. hiring folks to clean it up. I mean, it had sat dormant for quite a while. So he really took the chance on a speedway when this was prior to the governor making this initiative or anything. So he really took a chance, invested a lot of their own personal money into the facility to get it up and going, not knowing, could they bring NASCAR back? Should this just be a local events facility? I know they were looking at it as an entertainment complex. So it's a fairly large facility. In doing so, time kept moving. That's a massive undertaking. The governor also took an active interest in reviving NASCAR since its roots are here in North Carolina. Right. So there was an active investment from the state of North Carolina, along with Richmond County, and with the current owner, Dan Lovenheim, to get that facility back race ready. So there were a lot of smaller races, kind of walking before you run, crawling before you walk, really. And so we have to give our hats off to Dan for making that investment in Richmond County and getting it off the ground.
We'll talk about where we are in the midst of the sale and all that in a moment, but go back, you talked about the governor investing and his interest in reviving racing. COVID happened, and then there were massive millions of dollars of COVID money that was shared not only with Rockingham, but also with North Wilkesboro.
That's correct.
Talk about the allocations from the COVID money and how that impacted the track here.
So there's quite a bit of COVID money going around all over North Carolina. There were 3 tracks which received the money, direct appropriation from the governor's office. $9 million went to Rockingham Speedway. Maybe off on my numbers. I think it could be $13 million that went to Charlotte and $18 million to North Wilkesboro. That being said, Rockingham received the least amount of money. However, it was a substantial amount. And with those dollars, we had to, or I should say the owner of the Speedway, had to invest into the facility. So if the owner were to walk away, Richmond County is left with a much better facility.
And yeah, you still had to spend the money on the facility.
Exactly. So there were a lot of upgrades made to the facility. It had sat dormant for quite some time. I know the track was repaved. There were a lot
safer barriers,
safer
walls.
barriers. Quite a few things were done to the facility to get it race ready. So there was an allotment from some of the COVID money toward that. And there was also some infrastructure money that we're utilizing to run a wastewater line to the Speedway. So that's something folks don't realize. Yes, we are a rural community, and the Speedway is where you want a Speedway. It's in the middle of nowhere. We don't want to be disturbing neighbors or anything like that. And again, there's a neighboring drag strip. So it's in a fairly remote location. And when you have that, you don't always have sewer. So with some of that funding, we are extending a sewer line to the facilities. So another fun fact for you, there's over 50 septic tanks that sit on Rockingham Speedway.
Wow.
So don't have that exact number, but it's over 50, which is crazy, but it worked for I don't know how many years during the heyday of NASCAR.
There's a joke in there somewhere. I'm not going to go there.
Exactly. But again, so a lot of the money that, as you said, with COVID money, ARP funds, whatnot, will be going toward, if it hasn't already, toward the infrastructure, toward the facility, or getting the necessary wastewater to the facility.
So obviously you wanted NASCAR to come back, and obviously it did. Talk about the infancy of that idea, the initiative, the effort to get NASCAR interested again in going back to its roots of one of the great raceways in the United States, which is Rockingham Speedway.
Well, again, another full-fledged effort, not only from the track owner, but from Richmond County, our local community, from the state, Governor Cooper, our legislators, and NASCAR itself. So many people are having those conversations and investing into the facility, showing even with small events that we can still host a facility in Richmond County at the Rock. In the meantime, Track Enterprises, a company that Bob Sargent, the president, I think you spoke with David Hyatt last year. He worked with Track Enterprises. So they're a promotions group, and they work with NASCAR on a regular basis. And they're always looking for opportunities or tracks to take advantage of and to grow the racing venue. And so it was a natural fit for Track Enterprises. And so he had a few conversations with a lot of local community partners, obviously the ownership at the time, and he was able to lease the facility. He was a great partner with his previous relationship with NASCAR and hosting other NASCAR events. And he was able to lease the facility from the owner and put on a great sellout weekend, and he really did a great job of hosting an event that everyone could come, a sellout event, and to really prove to everyone that Rockingham can host a NASCAR race.
How much of an effort, you talk about all the people that supported, from the governor to the municipality, county officials. Talk about the community itself. I mean, as far as like a grassroots of people re-inspiring them to have NASCAR come back, how much excitement and how much did it invigorate the community that potentially NASCAR could come back and people can kind of relive those memories they had from decades ago that, racing at the Rock can definitely happen?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone from our Chamber of Commerce, our tourism director, your counterpart, there were signs in people's yards, flags. We had a hauler parade. I say a hauler parade. You may want to edit that out. We had a parade in downtown Rockingham, and drivers come out doing autographs. And really, it was just a rebirth, a sense of pride, seeing things as small as just the merchandise trailers coming to town. It really just pumped the blood back, and
it brings back all those memories.
Yes. So, and there's a lot of things. You can go out and build the new facility. You can build the biggest speedway, the best. You can have everything state of the art, but you can't replace history. You can't replace that nostalgia that people remember going there with their dad, their brother, their cousins, or their whole family camping out and just having good times in the campgrounds across the street. A lot of that you just can't replace.
Right.
So that nostalgia really came through in the community, and not just Richmond County, just all around. There's so many people here, Moore County, Scotland, even down into South Carolina. Darlington's not too far.
Right.
And a lot of people we were running out of merchandise, truthfully. I mean, they sold out of hats and shirts at the race, and people were still looking for it. So it really ignited a fire. Some people lost hope. Other people just forgot about it. But once they started seeing the tractor trailers and things roll into town, it really got everyone excited.
How much did it mean to have people like Rusty Wallace, the King, Richard Petty, Adam Petty, Junior, Adele Jr. He talked about it a lot on his podcast and posted stuff about coming back to the Rock. I mean, it means a lot to the race car drivers too.
It does. And as I mentioned, it's that history. It's the nostalgia that people remember, and they love those drivers. Those drivers are loved, and those drivers loved the Rock. So just kindling those old memories and just saying, hey, we have this beautiful crown jewel right here in the Sandhills. Let's shine this baby up and get some folks here. And everyone has been so supportive, and it's really gotten folks excited. I
know when I covered the sport, late 90s, Dale Sr. was still alive. Jeff Gordon was going crazy, and he was in his heyday. But coming to the Rock meant something special. And then NASCAR, for all their plans, whatever, I mean, expanding the sport and going to what people would call cookie cutter racetracks. They would build these 1.5 mile racetracks. They're relatively the same, like Las Vegas, California. I remember going to those tracks, and they were beautiful, shining things, but you can't rebuild history. You can't make history by creating a $40 million racetrack. So I think, over the course of time and maybe some of the fanship eroding from NASCAR, I think when they went back to North Wilkesboro, how much did that impact when NASCAR went there for the All-Star race and you saw the excitement there and was building there? How much did that impact you guys down in Rockingham County or Richmond County at the Rock?
It was great. I think we felt, so we'll back up a second. So back when Governor Cooper, and there was a lot of the folks in Raleigh trying to highlight the roots of NASCAR. What a lot of people don't realize is how much we worked with the folks at North Wilkesboro. They were phenomenal to work with. So on anything from our legislative requests to what are you learning? So we worked a lot with our friends from Wilkes County. Great people. We were so happy to see their success. Yeah. And to be honest, they had the ownership is different, but their track was really in worse condition than the Rock. So we may have had different roads ahead, but at the same time, we had a very similar story.
Yeah.
A very beloved track, a track the drivers loved, the community loved, and just seeing their success made us very proud, very happy for them.
Yeah.
And it also gave us hope that we can do this.
It
We
built
can
the
do
momentum
this.
for you
Yes,
guys
keep
now.
it going. I mean, it was such an overwhelming success in North Wilkesboro. And when we had an opportunity, we had a sellout as well. So we, again, I think reviving these older tracks has really
It's gone back to the
raised-
core audience and the core following of people that loved NASCAR back in the day in its heyday. And North Wilkesboro had the 2 All-Star races. I think in the 2026 season, they're getting an actual cup race. All-Star race, I think, is going to Dover. So next year, 2026, the NASCAR race weekend coming back. First weekend in April. I think it's April 3rd and 4th.
That's correct.
So it's Easter weekend again. Easter obviously moves every year. But early April, again, we're going to have the ARCA race, the Xfinity race, truck race. So the 3 series laid out as we did last time. Talk about this first year having those 3 races. What was it like for you, just personally, just going to the racetrack and seeing it come alive with a sold out crowd?
It was surreal. As many times as I've been to the track, and whether it be just taking pictures for, we need some grant assistance, or
Yeah.
what needs to be done, or maybe doing a PBS documentary. So it's been so many years going out to the track and everything was empty. So even the practice rounds, hearing the cars and how
Right,
loud
yeah.
they are.
I remember that in
wow.
January. It was awesome to see the tire test and seeing the cars. It was awesome.
It's a massive, until you're there, it's really hard to wrap your head around how large it is. So going in there, it's so massive, and it's been empty for so long, and I'd never been to a sellout race at the Rock. So from the practice rounds to seeing hundreds of these tractor trailers on the infield, and then the sellout crowd, it didn't even seem like the same
Yeah.
place. I mean, it was really just amazing for someone who had not been to a sellout.
It's funny. Your counterpart here in Moore County, Natalie Hawkins, we had a suite over kind of a little bit ahead of start finish, probably coming out of turn 4, kind of in between coming out of turn 4, the exit of turn 4 to start finish line. We're right in there. And so Natalie was there, had never been to a NASCAR race in her life. And even though she's in the suite, just the vibration of, 40 cars going around the racetrack, she was like a kid in a candy store. She was so excited. And that's what I tell people. It's like, you can watch it on TV, but like to go and actually smell the smells of the cars and hearing them go around, smell the tires. It's just something that is infectious, that you need to go there. And I think with racing being gone for so long, a whole generation just never got a chance to witness that.
Right.
So you've got a whole new fan base and crowd base, and honestly, probably some people that moved to Richmond County over the years that had never been to the Rock.
Right. They'd
So
never experienced
you've
that,
got a
right?
variety of that now with NASCAR coming back. What's in the plans for year 2? Just kind of let's do it over again, and what's the plan?
Yeah, it's to do it over again. As I mentioned, you mentioned earlier, the Craftsman Truck Series is on Friday, April 3rd. Again, do a repeat. There's a 3-year, contract to hold these 2 races on Easter weekend. So not only mirror, but improve.
Yeah.
Last year was the first year. So there were, for those that were there, maybe the scoreboard wasn't working at a certain time of the race. Just think, you bring a facility of that magnitude up to racing standards with a lot of old infrastructure,
Right.
something's going to happen.
Right.
And I mean, I didn't notice it right off, but there's a lot of things that I think Bob and Track Enterprises really did a great job of getting it ready for race day. But we have a whole nother year to continue making improvements. So
But you know what? Even with that, I think people understand you're reviving something that has been, dormant for a long, long time. And I think it's almost, endearing because, it's not perfect.
Right.
It's not a shining brand new racetrack. This is reviving something that is, was gone for a long, long time. I think everybody, like from my experience, was that, how cool is this? And we've got it right here in our backyard.
Yeah, it's, as you said, 20 minutes away from Pinehurst, 20 minutes away from a lot of our friends in Scotland County, South Carolina. It's close by. And again, you promote golf and resorts and things of that nature, and it's a great complement to 20 minutes down the road. You have a completely different draw
Right.
with NASCAR. But it's a great compliment.
And talk about the economic impacts. I know we did a study with Implant and showed, we had a serious economic impact here. Even though we're in the middle of peak golf season, any available rooms were sold out. And then I think the economic impact down there from the study we did, I think was $13 or $13.5 million dollars for Richmond County. So talk about the impact of that race and what it meant for having all those people, influx of people there for that weekend.
I mean, it's great. It's hard to really put into words what that meant to our community. As I mentioned, the nostalgia, just the pride, people being excited, and the economic impact alone. In a small rural community, 13 million goes a long way.
Yeah.
Charlotte, they may not even notice on their sales tax if the race was in Charlotte or not. But in Richmond County, it really moves the needle. It's our number. You can go anywhere in the world, and you might say, "Oh, Rockingham or this," and you say the Rock. People remember. People realize. And so having that, the economic impact, obviously, our restaurants, our hotels, our campgrounds, everything was full. The grocery stores, convenience stores, you name it. It was a great shot in the arm for our community. Speaking
of a great shot in the arm, you got the biggest one in North Carolina history in the last few months with the $10 billion deal with Amazon Web Services. It's interesting because I spoke to our board, this was a couple of weeks ago, and you had sent me some numbers from Jordan, who works with Amazon Web Services, that the requirement for these contractors, they're going to build, 200 to 220,000 square foot facilities for this massive infrastructure, which would be supported by Duke Energy, because with AI and everything, you need that power, you need the water. The huge economic impact that's going to have on Richmond County. How massive is that? The biggest deal in state's history on that, rural county. What is going to be the ramifications of that immediately?
Well, so I'll correct you on one thing. Over 20 facilities.
20? Oh, my gosh.
So it's huge. As we mentioned, it's one of the largest, as far as data center goes, that we have here in the U.S. Yes, there are larger, but it's definitely a larger facility, largest in North Carolina. Something of that magnitude, if you've not seen it in North Carolina, it's really going to be hard for our community and just the region, as far as that goes, to really wrap their head around what things are going to look like.
Right.
So right off the bat, we announced in June, Wallbridge Construction is actually building the first 6. So the first phase of this project, they started last week. So they've already been clearing. They're bringing in timber crews. But what we're going to see in the next few months, this is not a project that announces, people talk about it, it goes away, you don't hear about it, and maybe a year or two later. No, they're moving, and they're moving now. And they're moving very quickly. So they will be ramping up their construction team within the next year. Peak, they're looking at anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 construction workers only, just construction, nothing else, for the next 5 to 10 years. I make that a range. And that's a full-time job. I mean, you may say it's temporary employment, but I mean, a 5 to 8, 10-year range is a full-time job if you really think about it.
But they have to stay somewhere. So that means hotels. That's going to impact not just Moore County, what available rooms we have in the southern end of the county, especially off Highway 1 here, which is closest to that project. But you're talking surrounding counties. I mean, from Fayetteville to Robeson County to Sherall down in South Carolina.
We give a good 1 hour radius.
And you're talking 2,000 to 2,500 hotel rooms or persons to be housed per week over that period of time. That's a massive amount of economic impact.
It is. It's a huge influx of people, and it's hotel rooms, campgrounds,
restaurants,
homes, short-term restaurants. Homes. And oddly enough, one of the small things they tell you, they're like, You don't really think about it, but your barber shops are going to be busy. Like, if you think of that many construction workers that are remote and coming here, they've got to get their hair cut. So a lot of things, catering, so many things that you wouldn't necessarily think about.
Is Richmond County ready for that?
We're getting ready.
Yeah,
we're doing our best, we're
ready.
doing our best. But truthfully, something of that magnitude in economic development. Yes, the people that see county lines are your commissioners and your tax base. Outside of that, we're in the Sandhills. We pull from a radius, and we lean on good folks like yourself, Natalie here in Moore County, down to our friends in Scotland and South Carolina as well. So it's a regional impact. They're not. They're casting a wide net, and some of the services they need or subcontractors that they need are even out of Charlotte. So it's definitely going to be felt, not just in Richmond. Everyone will.
And when it comes to tourism, we're regional the same way. I mean, we promote Seagrove there in Randolph County, but Ben Owen is probably arguably the most prolific one. He lives in Moore County. But I mean, it's when people come to Pinehurst, they're going to go to Seagrove. They're going to go to Rockingham. If they go to the race, they're going to probably stay in Moore County. So there's a number of things that we do, and we work with Starworks with our Pinecone Pathways program. So they're in Montgomery County. So there's 3 counties that surround us that we work with on a regular basis for not just our success, but your success as well, because as I say, a rising tide floats all boats. So this Amazon project is going to be huge. You mentioned Natalie Hawkins. How much do you work with her, coordinate, not only on this Amazon project, but you guys talk fairly regularly about, what you guys are working on in respective counties?
We do, and we don't dive into confidential project matters because companies are so hypersensitive about their identity and what they may or may not do. But as far as whether at events, as you mentioned, Natalie was at the NASCAR race, and you all had a suite and whatnot there. We're the same here. We support anything that's going on in Moore County. It was contributions during the U.S. Open to the facility there, or really just some initiatives that we have, maybe with our legislators or and statewide as well. She is on the board of North Carolina's Economic Developers Association. We have a lot of committees, so we work together on a state level as well. So great neighbor. Moore County is very fortunate to have her, and when needed, we're always there to support one another. I had a missed call from her before this meeting, so I need to, Natalie, I'll give you a call wherever you are.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention one gentleman who absolutely loves Richmond County, Rockingham, Gene McLaurin, former mayor, has been for many years the chairman of the North Carolina Economic Development Partnership. He's on the state golf panel like I am, so I get to play a lot of golf with Gene. Super nice guy, but talk about him, his influence, his impact, and his contributions to not only what's going on in Richmond County, but of economic development across the state.
No, we're very fortunate to have Gene. He is a great figurehead for North Carolina. He's great with companies. He is president of Quality Oil on his own time. So he's great when speaking with companies as well, and very supportive of economic development. And it's a very confidential world that we work in. So I didn't have the luxury to say, Gene, I'm working with Amazon and this and this and this. And he understands that and he respects that. Yeah. But he's also, it's great to have someone of his magnitude representing all of North Carolina, because he has the ability to highlight Richmond County or the Sandhills area. As you mentioned, you guys are on the same board. He has the ability to highlight that or to bring that to the forefront where in places that maybe you or I are not located. So we're very fortunate to have Gene. He's done a great job. He's always he's a champion for our region, and very excited to have him there. And I also would be remiss if I didn't mention Bill Webb. He owns the Webb Farm, which is also in Richmond County. There's a lot of partnership with him as well in Pinehurst. Bill is also on the Rural Infrastructure Authority with the Department of Commerce. So a lot of the grants that go out from Commerce, he is on that. And now he's chairman of the Rural Infrastructure Authority, which also puts him on the Golden Leaf Board. So he's on the Golden Leaf Board as well. So we're very fortunate to have Gene McLaurin and Bill Webb representing our area, the Sandhills, up in Raleigh.
I know with the growth of Moore County, we're going, I think Natalie has said we're about 104,000 people. We'll grow to about 175, 180 in the next 20 to 25 years. While the short amount of time we have left, talk about your vision, economic development's vision, your leader's vision between now and say 2030. Where do you expect to be? Obviously with this Amazon project, the Rock, maybe a cup race down the road. Just kind of give us a 30,000 foot look at Richmond County by 2030.
Well, 2025, as we've mentioned, has been our year, or at least my year. I'll say that much in my world. So we were able to bring back our largest tourism driver, and we had the largest economic development announcement in North Carolina, investment-wise.
You can drop the mic anytime, right?
Yeah, done. But with that, there's growth, and I like to call that prosperity problems. We have had a slowly declining population. It would be stagnant or maybe some slight decline. So we have not seen the fast growth that you've had here in Moore County, but at the same time, with just these two events, we're already being approached by national home builders. Our planning and zoning director, bless her, she has been very busy. So there's a lot of eyes and ears on Richmond County right now. And something we're working to do is we know we're going to grow, and we're looking forward to that growth. Our former chairman, Kenneth Robinette, and his board invested a lot of money in the infrastructure. And so we're positioned to grow.
Yeah.
It's taken a little longer than maybe I wanted, but with these two major events, it's a great catalyst, a good springboard, I feel, to plan our community, to continue to attract industries, whether they be tech-related or manufacturing, giving citizens within the area great quality jobs, continue to build on our housing. I know Moore County, we have we're two different communities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our emphasis is going to be on growing. So we need to add more housing, more apartments.
More hotels.
More hotels. We definitely you need more hotels. We all need
doubt.
hotels.
Yes.
We are all in need of some short-term rentals for sure. So those are the things we're looking at from just everyday citizens. On the NASCAR, obviously we'd love to have 2 races a year, and that is a very doable thing.
Yeah.
That's not pie in the sky. I mean, we saw with the sellout. We'd like to have 2 races a year, obviously a cup race, points race.
So a cup race, just not to interrupt you there, but it just popped into my head. I know if we get a cup race, because we have 25,000 seats there now, the requirement with NASCAR is that you'd have to have at least 45,000 seats to host a cup race. So is there a plan to build the additional seating to show NASCAR that intent?
There have plans have been drawn. However, with the ownership situation right now, I'm not certain where they stand. So that
makes sense.
Ultimately, that would fall on the shoulders of the new ownership.
Yeah. Well, man, we could go on and on, but certainly congratulations on the enormous success of a great 2025. We still got 3 months left, Martie.
We do.
You can make another big announcement.
You never know.
And best of luck with the challenges ahead as well. I mean, we'll be great neighbors and partners for economic development as well as tourism, because I know you guys are working hard just like we are too every day.
Every day. But no, we're blessed to have you guys, again, great neighbors, great partnership. You guys have done a lot of wonderful things here. We're trying to catch up, but no, we definitely appreciate the partnership.
Well, we'll have fun, and we'll see you before the NASCAR race comes back in April 3rd and 4th at the Rock. Get your tickets because they will go fast, because people saw what a great show it was, man. Can't wait till it happens again. I know Natalie can't wait either. So we look forward to that. And thanks so much. You were nervous about being on the podcast. You did a fabulous job. We didn't have to cut or do anything.
Well, thank you.
You did awesome.
I do have to put a plug in. If you would like your tickets, they go on sale to the public at www.racetherock.com. I know if you bought tickets last year and you would like to get the same seats or same arrangements, you can go online and do that now.
Yeah.
However, general public that either did not attend or wants to get a different seat or different package, you can go online October 31st.
There you go. Perfect timing. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Martie. Martie Butler,
Thank you.
Economic Development for Richmond County. If you want to learn more about tourism in Moore County, just go to our website, which is homeofgolf.com. If you want to check out our videos on this podcast, this is, I think, your episode 84. It's amazing. Been going on for a
number.
long time. Just go to Home of American Golf on our new YouTube channel. This has been Paradise in the Pines, and we'll see you next time.